I love buying stupid projects that leave me questioning my own sanity. Find out what I bought this time, next. Oh boy, what do we have here? This thing is clean. I've actually been wanting a jet ski for several years now. The lakes are just so fun to go play on, and they're a little too cold for swimming, so I mean, you gotta ride on the water then, that means. So one day I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, and I found this just exceptionally clean, or what looked to be clean, jet ski. This is a 1995 Yamaha GP760 Waverunner. The plastics are in great shape, the seat's in great shape, came with a galvanized trailer. You really couldn't seem to ask for much more. However, there is some issues. Now, the previous owner had told me that this ski was taking on water. He assumed that it had a cracked hull. I inspected the entire thing. I didn't see hardly any damage. I mean, there's some scuff marks on the hull, but it's nothing major. And I didn't see anything that would warrant it taking on the amount of water that he said it was taking on. Because he said it was taking on about, I don't know, 2 inches or so in a very short period of time, and he would be able to take a quick rip around the lake and had to come back and drain it out, which just isn't normal. So I decided I'd go ahead and take a chance on it for the price and for how clean it was. I just couldn't pass it up. So as soon as I had gone and picked this ski up, I figured the first order of business was to start doing some diagnostics on it. So I took it to the lake a couple minutes down the road, set it in, and just let it kind of float around for a while. Absolutely no water was coming in through the hull, so I kind of figured that it was probably a good safe bet that the hull's not cracked. So the next thing I did was I fired it up, let the water start circulating through the entire system, and I found that it was coming through the elbow right down by the engine on the exhaust. Now down there where you can see that orange silicone material, it was leaking in pretty good, definitely at a rate where I could see a couple inches of water getting in the hull in a very short period of time. So I decided to rip it apart and get it all cleaned up and see if that fixed the issue. Well, starting to tear into this thing and already finding some pretty big issues. This elbow, where it was bolted in, kind of hard to see it down there, but where you can see the orange silicone, all the bolts holding that on were barely finger tight, and that definitely isn't good. I mean, I started kind of figuring that that gasket might have had some of the issue, or the bolts just not being tight in general. But when I came up here to take it off to disassemble it, it has this outer sleeve that goes around here, and then there's an inner sleeve where all this orange stuff is completely blown out, just destroyed. I mean, it's a rubber, basically a rubber boot that goes in there, held on by 2 clamps. So I'm gonna assume that's probably a big part of the issue. So we're gonna get some parts ordered, slap this thing back together, get that all nice and fixed up, cleaned up, put some new gasket material down in there, get everything all nice and snug and tightened. The other issue with this thing is it doesn't want to start. The starter button is not working well, so we're gonna trace that down too and figure out what's up with it. So with that starting issue I was talking about, I have tested the battery. The battery's got over 12 volts just sitting. I've probed the wires all the way up to this watertight box that has all the fuses and solenoids and whatnot for the electrical system. There is power going all the way to the box. So now I need to pull the box apart, make sure that it's getting power to the starter solenoid, and make sure all that's working right, because I'm guessing it's probably something to do with that. I pulled apart the handlebar switch, nothing looks wrong there, everything seems to be working right, so I don't think it's the actual starting switch. I'm thinking it's probably the solenoid. Fingers crossed that'll be what the issue is and we can get this fixed real quick. Well, I pulled open the box, Pull this old starter relay out of there. Doesn't look like anything's wrong with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. I mean, there's no corrosion or anything on it, but like I said, that means absolutely nothing. It's definitely old, more than likely the original. Got a new one here. See if that does anything to it. Got that solenoid swapped out and put in there. I just kind of got that box just hanging in there loosely. Make sure it actually solved the problem before we go to bolt everything back up. So, well, seems like it worked. Now all we got to do is get that boot fixed and repaired and get everything all put back together. This thing will be out on the water. And got the new boot installed. Got the new gasket put on down there on the lower part of the exhaust. So we're all good there. Gonna get this thing all buttoned up and you're ready to take it out on the water and see if that fixed the problem. Well, we made it out of here on the lake. Been out here for probably about 2 hours now. I looked in the hull when we first put it in and fired up, took it around for a quick spin, checked for water. There was still a little bit of residue left from last time it was out here and we took on water. But checked it again just now. There's absolutely no more water than there was before. So I think this thing is good and it absolutely rips. Well, we had a good day. This one fell off the tube and about drowned, but we made it at least. Well guys, I gotta say that was an absolute blast. This thing absolutely just rips. It pulls a tube just fine. I mean, it is a little light, but for pulling one person, it didn't really throw the ski around too badly. I've got a lot of plans for this thing coming up. The traction mats are mostly torn off of this thing, so I'm gonna get some more of those ordered, get it put on there, make it a little easier to ride. Probably eventually even getting a wrap for it. The yellow isn't a bad color at all, but just like to do something different, really make it stand out and look nice and clean. The gauge cluster, that also is not working currently. I've looked on eBay, those are a little spendy, like $300 or $400, so I might pull this one out, try to see if I can do anything to make it work again, because I only paid $1,000 for this entire setup and trying to keep it as cheap as possible while still being an excellent machine. And $300 to $400 for a gauge cluster just isn't really what I'm hoping to do, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, lots more content with this ski coming up, so stay tuned. Make sure to drop a comment and let me know what you would like to see done with it. If you guys got wrap ideas, whatever it may be, just let me know. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.